Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, and I am back with Varosh. I did convince him to come back for the ace match of SKT1 versus KT Rolster. This is on Moon Glaive, a very Terran-favored map, and we are going to see two Terrans. We're going to see Flash trying to get some revenge against SKT after losing to Best in the third set, and we're going to have Fantasy after his victory in the first set against Hoja. He's going to come back out. Both of these players are absolutely fantastic TVT. Flash is something like 71%, I think Fantasy's like 61% or something ridiculous. So both these players are extremely good. This is a great map for TVT, and I'm expecting to see a very interesting and intense game from the two of these players. What are you expecting from this game, Brosh? Are you excited as this for this as I am?
Well, I'm really excited about this game. Terran versus Terran. Just something about it these days is so much more exciting than it used to be. So much good vulture play and so many more different options. It used to just be both players tech straight to tanks and then they get drop ships and that's all you see in the game. But now there's just people are mixing it up so much. I'm wondering though, why didn't we see Flash versus Bisu? I know that this is a Terran flavored map and Terran favored map and I understand that, but Flash is so good Terran versus Terran. He's like almost unbeatable Terran versus Terran. Why not throw Bisu in there, another S-class player, and see how they do against each other? Because Bisu is just so good. He can overcome any map disadvantage, and I would have liked to have seen Flash versus Bisu. I'm not complaining. Fantasy is a great player, and Flash versus Fantasy is going to be a great game. But come on, gotta send out your ace, and Bisu is unequivocally SKT1's ace.
Yeah, I think overall, Bisu is their best player. It just seems like SKT1 has seemed to be favoring sending Fantasy out in the ace matches for whatever reason. I don't know if it's like the Boxer I Love OV influence in loving Terrans or some other reason. Last year in the Pro League playoffs, in the finals you saw them send out Fantasy against Jaedong. It seemed like the entire time they were trying to get Fantasy on Jaedong, which they succeeded once, and then again in the ace match they were able to do that again. They had that choice of the classic BC Jaedong, which is such a fun match that we've loved to see when it's happened a few times. But they sent out Fantasy, and he did take down Jaedong. I think there's something about Fantasy that they see, whether in big games or what, that he just plays very well, and I think that's why they like going to him here. He's just such a solid player, and really Fantasy has no weaknesses. I mean, technically, yeah, his TVT is his best matchup, but it's like the difference between like 68% and 71%. They're so similar that there is nothing that you can there's no one that you can really send out that's like his Achilles heel or his kryptonite in any way, shape, or form. Um, I just realized I don't think we actually gave who was who. So in case you guys couldn't tell, Fantasy is on the left at the 7:30, and Flash is on the right in blue at the 4 o'clock position. I just realized that I don't think we ever said that. And this is a 3-person map, so they're both going to scout in the wrong direction. There's a base at the 12 o'clock position. We'll see if either player is able to see the other's SCV and maybe turn it around. But I don't think that's going to happen here. Both players throwing down factories. It looks like it's going to be very standard here to start with. We'll see if either player decides to go for maybe get some rates out or throw down a factory, and we'll start to see some divergence in the build order for these two players.
Oh, your viewers can read Deja Vu. I'm sure they check the description where the players are, right? Right? Anyways, so Flash has got a factory going up, and I think he's actually going, and Fantasy's factory timing is a little ahead. He's already got the machine shop going up, and is that a command center that's going up? So Flash is going to go immediately for an expansion here, and we Oh, and Fantasy is as well. So we're seeing mirror build. For some reason, Flash is a little bit behind on the factory timing, but a little bit ahead on the command center. So I don't know what contributed to that. But it's not going to be any type of like 14cc that we see Flash as some virus that makes him go 14cc 1 out of 5 games. It's going to be standard play, and it's just going to come down to great micro and great decision making. And both of these players are at the peak of both micro and decision making in Terran versus Terran. Why is Flash just stopping in the middle of the map? I can't even tell. His SCV just kind of stopped. Alright, so now Flash is putting up a second factory, and I'm assuming Fantasy is as well. Nope. Is Fantasy gonna go for a starport immediately after this? That'd be exciting to see. Come on, show what he's doing. He's pumping more Marines, but I want to see what Fantasy is doing. Come on, Observer. It's so frustrating not to be able to observe yourself.
Hey now, Varosh, I don't know if you have any right to criticize other observers. I seem to remember you
Oh, I'm
missing
so bad.
maybe 4 or 5 storm drops or tank drops over 2 games or something. I don't know. I think that that's what happened as you were standing there looking at critters and stuff. But yeah, we do see the second factory finally coming down for fantasy, and both players are going to take the natural expansions. Yeah, I don't know why fantasy really decided to produce those extra couple marines. They're really not going to do too much here. They're not even the ones that really catch the SCV. It's the tanks that really catch the SCV and stop it from scouting. I suppose the only reason that I mean, they could help possibly if there's a couple wraiths early on. If Flash went for like a 1-port wraith build, they could help protect the tanks early on and stop them from going down easily and stopping a push going down. But I don't think that's really all that significant. But I suppose that's about the only thing I can really think of as to why they would be effective at this stage. And I think we see Siege probably being upgraded by both players. I saw Fantasy's machine shop spinning, and I assume Flash's is as well. I think I saw Flash get an armory as well, so he goes for the early upgrade. Flash loves his upgrades. Flash has always loved his upgrades, always will love his upgrades. It's just the robotic way, and it really is the Flash style going for that armory. Actually, that armory isn't spinning. It looks like, yeah, he's just going for Glaives as well. So I have seen this before from Flash. Flash goes for this very hybrid build where he gets gets pretty much every unit in the book, and he's prepared for everything, and he's just like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. I don't even need to see your base, and I can still beat you because I will produce out of a build that can handle anything. And I don't know how he kind of came up with this build, but it really is quite brilliant. I think that he really does have a unit composition in the early game that can deal with virtually any normal build that that another Terran will do. I've seen this several times from him, and it always impresses me when I see it.
Oh, I just want a note on the observers. Korean observers are so good, and not only that, they are so much better than I am at observing. I was just commenting that it's frustrating not to be able to, click on whatever you want, go wherever you want, so that you can sync it to what you're talking about. But definitely, Korean observers just embarrass me every single day. When I watch a pro game, I'm like, how do these guys do it? They must practice, observe 100 games a day or something. They must practice as hard as like the actual players do playing. We've got like 100 observer APM, which is pretty difficult to watch. But that was a giant tangent that had absolutely no value, and it looks like the two forces are about to meet in the middle of the map. The tanks look like they're just out of range. It might just be sight range, but no, there's spotting, and the tanks are just out of range. So it looks like we're at a bit of a stalemate right here. One of the barracks briefly looked like it was going down, and Flash, just based on his timing, got a small economic lead. But there's Flash's barracks, and it's under pressure. The two vultures trying to push up, and are probably one of the vultures just gets taken down for nothing, and Flash is unsieging and looks to be pushing forward. His barracks is now in the red. It is burning down, so hopefully he's going to realize that and rebuild a second barracks, because he's definitely going to be wanting to get more factories than only the 3 he has. I think Fantasy's already on 5 factories, and if I saw that correctly, we're going to see a lot of vultures out of him. As you can see, just a huge amount of vultures rallying out and going to try to win this game with speed vultures and lots of mines.
Yeah, it can be really effective. He can get in among the tank line and throw down some mines. It can do very, very well. But the Marines and Goliaths for Flash are going to do a pretty good job of holding back the vultures and mostly stop that as much as he can. I think that's why we see less factories from him, because he's going for those Goliaths. It costs a little bit more. It does look like Fantasy's going to try and take the base at the 6 o'clock position, and Flash is going to try to take the base at the 1 o'clock position. It's a little bit of an audacious move by Fantasy. That is technically his 3rd base, but because he's expanding towards his opponent, towards a Terran opponent, that means that he's trying to put the pressure on Flash. It really is